What's up guys, welcome back to Star Citizen. This is just a quick channel update to let you know what's going to be going on in the next weeks and months. Obviously when I was sick I asked you guys for some input and we had a bit of a back and forth about it. And I just wanted to talk to you about what's going to be changing, what's going to be staying the same. I want to assure you in advance that nothing too disruptive is going to be happening, but we are going to be changing things up. Speaking of changing things up, this is the new freelancer that we spoke about in the last video, but for some reason it wasn't in my hangar, and I found out it's because the variant I own hasn't been reworked yet. Not only that, but you may notice we is in the space. So I'm going to just mooch around in space and give you guys a look at what's going on. It's still janky as fuck and lots of things blip in and out of existence and don't look quite right. That is as much my machine as it is problems with the game. Like here, for example, these pistons don't align. That is probably a bug with the game, but some of the textures and the flickering are likely to be a symptom of my machine not being particularly beastly. So just bear that in mind. Okay, so where are we? What's happening primarily is that some stuff that hasn't been working out for us is going to be replaced. And I know I've been really bad down the last 8-9 months or so at sort of continuing through playthroughs to their natural conclusion, and that's all really a symptom of trying to figure out what's been working and what hasn't. So before I worry anyone unduly, first of all, Grand Prix World is going nowhere. In fact, that's going to be a staple of the channel for the foreseeable future, months and months. There's lots of other things that we need to look at. There's a variety of options open to us for subsequent playthroughs, so no need to worry there. I'm really enjoying Grand Prix World. It seems you guys enjoy Grand Prix World as well, so there's no reason at all to get rid of it. So we won't. ZCOM will be staying. The reason I'm keeping it is that although it's had a very shaky start, a few people are starting to warm to it, and I think there's life in the old dog yet. It's merely probably a byproduct of my presenting style that I need to work on to kind of portray the game in the correct light. So it's something I'm going to work on, but I think there's work to be done in all regards, but particularly with ZCOM. It's such a great game that I think I failed to really get that across. So I'm going to try and be a bit more enthusiastic in my playthroughs with that. So that leaves us with what's good. It won't go straight away. I'll do a few more episodes, but basically I did some research and I've been hearing from me over the last few weeks. There's been a lot of similar games coming out. Master of Orion, Polaris Sector. I've been looking at all of these and I've decided that based on what we know so far, and there's nothing guaranteed yet, Stellaris seems to be the most interesting one that I think I can present well. I think it will be a very, very watchable game, in the Galciv hasn't. Again, not necessarily a fault of the game. It's more likely that it's just that I've not been presenting it correctly. However, that's as maybe. If it's not working, it's not working, so it has to go. Stellaris, the added benefit of doing Stellaris is that it's essentially Crusader Kings 2 in space, in a lot of regards. And I've been wanting to cover Crusader Kings 2 for quite some time, and I've never got round to it. For the same reason that I don't touch some other grand strategy games that, as you've seen with Galciv, it's not really my natural stomping ground when it comes to presenting style. However, with Stellaris, I'm genuinely much more confident that I'm genuinely much more confident that there's benefit to me covering it, and that I can cover it in a way that you guys should hopefully find interesting. So we're going to do a Stellaris playthrough starting in May, so there's a month away, and that will most likely be single player, although I am investigating the possibility of doing a regular co-op playthrough, or maybe even a group playthrough. There are several YouTubers who are looking at that's unplayable jank. There are several YouTubers who are already actively canvassing for people to make a short video series with, and I'm hopeful that I can work something out to get a group playthrough up on the channel for you. I think group playthroughs of these games are always much more entertaining than a solo playthrough would ever be, because the AI are good in most of these games, but a human player adds a level of unpredictability that you don't get from the AI. So either single player or co-op or multiplayer, Stellaris is coming to the channel, and I hope you guys are all okay with that. I just think it's a game with a lot of depth and a lot of richness, and assuming it's not a buggy pile of crap on launch, I think it's eminently worth covering, so I will be covering that for you. What else is coming? Starting in June, assuming they don't change the launch date, I am hoping to cover at length No Man's Sky. If you guys don't know about No Man's Sky, it's a graphically beautiful multiplayer but actually single player, which doesn't make a lot of sense, space exploration game. It's got a lot of what Star Citizen is trying to offer, except that it's finished. So while you don't get the sort of super rich fidelity of the ships or these big multi-crew vessels, you do have a progression trail, and it's an infinite universe, and you go around exploring, fighting, trading, the usual stuff. What's particularly cool about it is everyone can theoretically meet each other, but the universe is so big that they expect that you'll find planets other people have discovered and named, but you won't. By the time you reach them, the other player will be long gone. So that's a really cool element, that you name creatures if you're the first to discover them. It's very procedural, and I think that lends itself very well to emergent gameplay, so I hope both of those sound interesting to you. In the meantime, we're going to carry on with the playthroughs that we've got running at the moment, and I'm going to try, and I hope you'll have patience with me, I'm going to try throwing a bunch of sort of onesie single videos at you. And again, this is all part of my grand master plan to sort of throw a lot of stuff at the wall and see what sticks. Some stuff might be out there that I don't think of, that maybe you don't think of, and when we try it, it turns out it works really well for the channel, and people like it, and you guys hopefully enjoy it, and the channel grows a little bit. That's a big if, but I think there's a lot of games out there that I'd like to show you and that we can have fun with together, but don't necessarily warrant a full playthrough. So, in summary, the takeaway is I will still periodically, very periodically, given the state of it, be covering Star Citizen, just because I've sunk a lot of money into it and it's interesting to see how it develops. But the main staple of the channel will continue to be Grand Prix World. I'm still looking at doing F1 Manager, but the game just isn't as deep and my software doesn't like to record it. ZCOM will be remaining. We're going to wrap up Galciv in the next few weeks, and then we'll be replacing that with Stellaris. So again, the way the channel's always been run, it's a 3 playthrough channel on a cycle. There tends to be one dominant playthrough, which is usually Grand Prix World, and then the other 2 sort of fight for space a little bit, but are generally quite regular. I know with Galciv and ZCOM, it's been more sort of batches, that I'll do 2 or 3 episodes of ZCOM, then 2 or 3 episodes of Galciv. I'm going to try and mix that up a little bit more as we wrap up Galciv, but I think the 3 playthrough system works quite well, because you've got one main playthrough that everyone seems to like, which is Grand Prix World, and that's something that's really easy and fast for me to knock out. It doesn't require a lot of editing. It's not a large file. Like yesterday's episode as an example, it took about 15 minutes, I think, to encode, and then 26 minutes to upload. So 45 minutes, let's say, post-processing, and shooting it obviously is real time, so it took about 30 minutes. I think 30 minutes is a good size for those episodes as well. Hopefully you agree. I think doing 2 rounds and a bit of chat and banter in between works quite well. Whereas Zcom and Galciv, particularly Zcom actually, take much longer to produce. There's actually some editing that goes in there, although you wouldn't believe it from the standards. So it will be that maybe I'll reshoot 2 or 3 times the intro until I'm happy with how it sounds, and then that'll all be on a single video that I then edit at the end. I also have to reduce the size of the video much more significantly because it's much more graphically detailed, and the upload for a Zcom video can be, because of my crappy German internet, about 5 to 6 hours. So I think having sort of 2 more time-intensive playthroughs supporting Grand Prix World is a pretty decent system, and we'll just be switching one of the main offenders out for another new main offender. In the interim, if any of the sort of onesie episodes go down particularly well, then I need a replacement for Zcom, because that's not going to go on forever, and we're already picking up the pace. Actually, I've got some episodes queued now which I've never had before, and I don't know, because obviously I'm playing through the game first time blind with you guys, but I'm fairly confident that it's not actually going to go on a huge amount of time longer. I can see us getting through to at the current rate. I'm thinking of sort of editing it a bit more as well and having more than 1 mission per episode, but I'm expecting that we're approaching sort of 40% of the way through. So if I increase production, it's not going to last a great deal longer, and I'm already sort of considering what we can replace that with in the end. But I am committed to finishing it, first of all. I don't like having lots of half-completed playthroughs on the channel. I don't think it looks good. So we will be completing XCOM, we will be completing Grand Prix World, probably more than once, and we will have a satisfying conclusion to Galciv, even if I have to blitz through it one weekend and stitch together a 20-minute video that sums up what's happened. I think you deserve a better quality of output from me, and I will be doing my best to deliver that to you. Intermittently, we do still cover stuff like occasionally Dirt Rally, occasionally stuff like RimWorld. RimWorld I still really want to do, I really do, but I find it hard to do the game justice with my playthroughs. I've got a video on my desktop right now that I've edited together, and I'm going to watch it after I've recorded this and see if it's passable. If it is, it'll go up on the channel. If not, you won't see it. And that about sums it up. So I hope that's been helpful. I hope you're as excited about No Man's Sky and Stellaris as I am. I really do think particularly Stellaris is going to be a very, very watchable playthrough, especially if I can make it multiplayer. The Out of Our Depth playthroughs will continue as well. I'm still working with Simon to schedule time to... I'm just walking up and down. This video has just been me wandering about, I'm sorry, but it's all about the audio content really. I'm still trying to synchronize with Simon on how to do a bit of bomb disposal for you, and we'll be looking at some other stuff as well with some other people. I think Out of Our Depth is actually a concept that can work much better than maybe it has. I was quite happy with the farm episode in the end, even though it took a while to get going. And I think Simon and I are going to be able to deliver something really cool with Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. So, any feedback as always is very, very welcome, and I will see you for a proper video very, very shortly. Take it easy.